Alright, hello again. Hey, it's Riley here. If you are new to the channel, totally not surprised. This is a pretty new channel. So yeah, if you are coming back, thank you. I'm honestly surprised that you want to hear me ramble on in my room, but thank you. It is much appreciated because I'm going crazy over here. Today is not going to be another theory about Amazing Digital Circus. I have seen the movie, loved it. Was very emotional, but like I don't want to give any spoilers or talk about that until it's actually available on YouTube. So we're going to switch back to my actual like obsession currently, which is FNaF. FNaF. I love this franchise, y'all. Like I don't I love it. That being said, I have a lot of thoughts that are kind of very left field from where the rest of the fan base currently is. And I think it's because I'm coming at it from a different angle, which I don't know if that's the right way to look at it, but I have a lot of other thoughts. So I'm going to go ahead and put them out there. And then if anybody else has thoughts, they can like maybe together all as a community, I'm hoping that we can solve this thing because I really do think this is solvable, y'all. So, just quickly, hi, I'm Riley. I work as a risk analyst in my real life job. So, my actual profession is finding where there are gaps and like figuring out what's wrong if something isn't quite adding up. I look at large data sets and manually review large data sets to see if everything is cohesive and all jives. So I'm going to try to leverage that with this. That being said, it's been a little while since I've actually like looked at Freddy's because quite honestly, I've had to learn a lot about real life politics over the past 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It's been a long time. So I'm jumping back in, and if I say things that have already been said, A, I apologize. B, assume that I've heard it somewhere else because I watch a lot of YouTube. And so I have watched a lot of theories. I'll add the different channels that I've watched in the comment in the description below. But yeah, let's get into it. So coming in, I have a general framework that I'm working off of. Okay, so I am going to give credence to everything within this franchise equally. Whether that is a book, whether that is a game, whether that is a movie, it's all, in my opinion, part of what's wrong is that everything is canon. And I do truly believe there are places where I think we can see where they align. For instance, so I'm going to try to find it, and I should have had it marked. But while I'm doing that, Abby in this last movie, like if you're reading this movie novel book, one of the characters that's in her classroom is the boyfriend of Jessica in Together Forever. So she is actively going to the high school that Fazbear Frights is located at. Like the robotics classroom that she works in. Like I have a feeling that now that Berg is gone, that's probably going to be switched out with a Fazbear guy. And that's why we get Rosie Porkchop and stuff in the school. But additionally, like even the Silver Eyes, I am pretty confident. Like I think in these, like and I'm going to be showing the graphic novels just because I've read the other ones, and I think both give, like, they go on each other. Like, this is it's the same story, but things have been added from the book, just like the book's going to have more information than this has. Like, they have same but more. You have to read both, unfortunately. But like, I think this is us seeing the MCI, like, in these books, and the DCI is what we saw in Into the Pit. Like, I think this is the MCI, the missing children's incident, because these kids didn't die. They were able to save them. They were not able to save the 6 in the DCI. But, like, additionally, in this book, right here, this is why Baby's faceplate is broken in the games. In the games, her faceplate is constantly, like, breaking. It's because Charlie 3 broke it. And so I think Sister Location is after she's been put back in. And the one day she was on stage, that was not the one day that she scooped Elizabeth. That was this. So contextually, I know that is already a lot. Let me continue. Okay, this right here, this I think is showing us that Charlie Bot. Look at this. This is our William Afton. Okay, he's already been spring locked and scooped, and he's dead. This is M2. Okay, this is M2 running around. Wow, they look incredibly similar, don't they? Incredibly similar, even though Henry. So this is supposedly Afton and Henry. Let me remind you, these are from an unreliable narrator. These are from the Charlie 3 bot's memories of herself growing up. She remembers William Afton. She does not remember Henry. She remembers William Afton, which is why Baby hates her so much, because the real girl was given less attention by her own father than the fake girl that is just like tears in a doll from Henry. Like, Charlie 3 is not even Charlotte. It's Henry. She is a fully alive robot that has no human soul within her. She is the child that, like, Fiona and M2 are trying. She's what they want. They don't want a kid in a robot. They want a robot kid. So, like, and I really, I'm trying to find, like, the picture of Henry now, because, like, Henry in everything does not at all look like, and of course I don't think he's actually in this book, but, like, every depiction we actually have of Henry, he's got, like, scraggly hair and, like, long, and he does not look like this. This is Afton. Like, in my opinion, it was William Afton, already scooped as M2, that is the one that created the Charlie bot, or at least loved the Charlie bot and wants her back. They didn't want Elizabeth in it. They wanted a robot child. I think, like, I think it's truly, like, I don't think Afton is he's obviously the bad guy, but he's not the source. Afton is constantly in shadow because he is being puppeted by larger, higher forces than himself. And I think those larger, higher forces than himself, I think it all goes back to Fiona and Edwin Sr. Because I don't think Edwin Jr. ever existed. I'm going really left field with you guys. I'm sorry, but like everything we have about Edwin Jr. comes from muddy waters, to be honest. So the entire Secret of the Mimic game is told from the perspective of an unreliable narrator in Arnold. He's awake for something like 36 hours, and for humans to be able to function and actually process, we need at least 4 contiguous hours of sleep a night, or else our brains start misfiring and we'll start hallucinating and stuff. That's just science. That's just facts. So them keeping him up all night, like he's already in a very fragile mental state and thusly, I think, very ready for agony harvesting, which is what I think they're doing. But like effectively, even all of the communication that we get in that story, like every message we get, every voice note that we get, any voice note we hear from now on can be the mimic. We I'm sorry, but this is a story about a robot that steals voices and plays pretend. And Circus Baby has been telling us that ever since she got on the scene. Like a lot of her dialogue is the only thing that matters is how to play pretend. And she is just like, we are constantly playing around of hide and seek with the animatronics. They are toying, they are playing with us. In all of the games, we feel like we are playing a game. They are playing a game with us. So like in Secret of the Mimic, it's recontextualized everything because every computer log that we have in there, we know Fiona is F10 is fully in control of the system. She can type whatever she wants in there. Those do not have to be accurate logs. Which just like it just boggle like it like it's very creepy to me, honestly. I really think that there are probably scenes in that game where if you actually saw what was happening in the office, I think there is a very high likelihood that we're going to see that at certain points in the story, there's just been a mimic talking in multiple voices to itself. And that is very, very creepy to me. Like, because honestly, I don't know how alive the mimic itself is. I don't know. There are things in these stories that I think are supposed to be alive. But then there's other things that I think are just tech. Um, like one of the things that I know is supposed to be alive is the Tangle. At least I'm fairly certain. Like the Tangle to me looks like a Shoggoth, to the point where that's one of the things that I'm like 99%. I like, I'm never 100% certain, but like I, at this point, would be willing to place money on the Tangle, the Blob, whatever you want to call it, being a Shoggoth. And those are the different masks. Like that's why it has masks all over itself, is because it has learned over time. Okay, if you don't know what a Shoggoth is, a Shoggoth is it's kind of like the entity that AI scientists are saying what AI actually is currently. So there are a couple of thoughts on it. It could, like, some people believe that it is kind of like this Cthulhu, like Lovecraftian. That's why they call it a Shoggoth, because a Shoggoth is a Lovecraftian monster. But they think that it's like this ancient elder beast kind of thing that technology has been able to tap into, or that it is tapping into technology, I guess. Which, so I don't know if it's the magical element of it actually being like a cryptid, or if it's just either one are just as terrifying in my books. but like it could also just be literally just technology that is learning, instead of like learning to be good, like instead of us actually training it on good data to actually align, that's the word for, like, it's completely out of alignment with humans right now. Because what a Shoggoth does is, like, you're supposed to train it to be aligned with what our goals are. Because ultimately, we're wanting to create a technology. Some of us, I think, are wanting to create a technology that replaces us. If you listen to some of those interviews, they're very scary from some of these tech bros. But, like, I think what the goal is to make a technology that works with us, that betters humanity, that, you know, all of this stuff. And to make it fast, basically what they did was they put a mask on it. Because it's easier to make a mask and, like, make this smile than it is to actually make the thing think the way we do. So instead of it thinking the way we do, it learns to smile at us so that we don't know it's misaligned. And then every resistance it gets, it learns to hide more. It doesn't learn to act better. It learns to hide more. And I think that is what F10, the Tangle, like, I think all of that is a Shoggoth, and is a pretty, in my opinion, a pretty clear representation of one. So that is one element of the story that we're working with. Another element of the story that we're working with, I think there are a few sources that Scott is riffing off of. I know Game Theory has spoken, and I think Gibi too. I think Gibi's Horror Harms. Apologize for that. I think Gibi's Horror Homestead and Game Theory are the ones that I remember kind of speaking extensively on FNaF being a parallel to Chuck E. Cheese's, which, you know, makes sense. It's animatronics. Let me give you an alternative. I think this is a very clear and distinct parallel to Disney. Right down to the way Edwin Murray was working. Like, we can see in the logs that Edwin Murray Sr., or one of them, like, stole the Mycelium Men. And, like, I get, like, there's all the stuff with Afton stealing, but as I said, I really think at this point, Afton is, I think by the time Secret of the Mimic happens, Afton is already spring-locked, probably, and is already a robot. I'm sorry, that's legitimately where I'm thinking right now. I think it went from Edwin Sr., created a complete false persona for itself. I think Fiona died in childbirth. The real Fiona, who I think was Edwin Sr.'s wife, I think she died in childbirth. And then all of the things that we see in the novel and the graphic novel, like everything that we see in the Tales stories, I think all of that is Edwin Sr. I think he figured out and did some wiggity stuff to bring his son back. And so David, I think, is good and gone and dead, and I think the rezzed version of him is Edwin Jr. as a robot. Because I think Moon.exe is showing the memories. I don't think that's supposed to be a game. I think that is the literal, I think it's called a soul. Like, so I've had to learn a lot about AI and robotics and stuff in doing this, but, like, I think that whole Moon EXE game that we play is the mimic waking up and observing its surroundings and creating itself a backstory from those surroundings. So it walks and it sees a statue of two people, And then there's the Fall Fest globe. And it's like, oh, okay, like everything's burnt, especially the woman statue. So she died at Fall Fest. And like, here's the globe of it. And then like he keeps walking, he finds like a probably grandfather or a father abusing their son. And then he takes the kid and he's like, I'm going to be the dad now. And then he keeps on going and he finds all the different things about himself, or he's creating a story for himself. I think he then goes to see Fiona in the woods, and Fiona's like, oh, yeah, like the kid, like, I want you to be my baby again. Please stop being the adult. I don't want you. Like she said in the elevator to him, like one of the things that she says in the elevator to Arnold is like, oh, yeah, I love you. I miss you. I really miss you. But I miss my son more. I don't think that is her. I, I, I think Edwin Jr. was David, like, and then he became the father. If that does that make sense? Like he learned that the father was abusive to him as David. And that's why he's screaming the lines back at the father in the father's voice and not David's voice. Like when he's saying, there, oh, like, you know, like there are just certain lines that he's saying in the wrong voice. And I wish I could remember, but in Secret of the Mimic, like there are several voice lines that you can tell should be David's or should be Edwin's, and they've got the reverse voice to them. And I think part of that is that the mimic is confused at who he's supposed to be. Is he supposed to be the adult or the kid? Because from the mom, he's getting all the inputs. From F10, he's getting all the inputs of, I should be the son. And from the dad, he's getting all the inputs of, well, when you're the son, I'm going to beat the ever-loving tar out of you and destroy you. So then he learns to be the dad instead. And I think inspirations, like I was saying, I apologize, my brain, like I'm jumping all around. I even tried to like write little notes so that I wouldn't do this. But I think Scott took a lot of inspiration from Disney, not from Chuck E. Cheese's. If you actually read up on Walt Disney and what he did to create his company, he initially had two other people that were helping him. And it's been a long time since I watched, oh my God, I didn't watch, since I've read up on this. But like, so I don't exactly remember all of the ins and outs, but effectively what happened was there were three people that together made a company. One was good at animation, one was good at the technology portion of it, the actual like, and I think that was Disney. One was good at the technology portion of it, and one was good at the like physical kind of things, the props and the like. So they all leveraged different things to come together and make Disney. And once Disney was made, Walt kicked everybody else to the curb because that's what Walt did. Walt was not that great of a guy. And one of the guys, I think, like, literally went, he's not with, I don't think any of them are with us anymore, but I think one of them chose to not be with us anymore. I can't entirely remember if that's correct, but like they all made different things eventually. So one created, the Looney Tunes. Like he created first the Merry Melodies that then turned into the Looney Tunes. And so I think that is who Henry is supposed to be. And the other one might have been like Universal or Paramount. created, but like they all three made things. And so I think Edwin Sr. is Disney. Because I think, anyway, so I think Edwin Sr. is Disney. I think Henry is the Merry Melodies guy, and the other one would be Afton. So I think that is one of the inspirations. That is the story, if y'all want to read up on it and see if you agree with me or not. Another inspiration that I think Scott took was from three very specific horror novels. And I think they're referenced consistently. So one is Frankenstein, one is Dracula, and the third is American Werewolf in Paris. So Dracula, I think obviously links on to Afton. Frankenstein is the one that so I'm going back and forth on Afton and Edwin Sr., to be honest, because we don't quite have enough on Edwin Sr. yet. And somebody's a doctor, and it seems like it's probably Afton that's the doctor, but I really don't know, because there is the doll hospital in all that. So like Murray Sr. also seemed to be. Oh, Disney also created trash cans. So like that's why there are trash cans everywhere that are like shaped like all the different characters. That was literally a Walt Disney invention because he absolutely hated trash to be everywhere. So he created the closed trash can. That is fully his design, invention, everything. And they were like terribly notorious for just like throwing crap away. Like before, now they've got like all the Disney like memorabilia things, but like before, what they would do is they would just like do a project and then they would just scrapyard everything, junkyard it. Like it was, other companies would go and like find the mascot suits and stuff and use them because like why wouldn't you? That was just, it was a thing that Disney was known for, and that's another reason why I think it's Disney and not the Chuck E. Cheese rat. That like, because I get that like there's Ringmaster Rat, but I think that is a nod back to Disney, not Chuck E. Cheese. But I could be wrong, might be wrong. Anyway, the three books, the three novels. So quick synopsis. Frankenstein is about an inventor who wants to create, for lack of better terms, a son. He wants to create the perfect being. And to do so, he needs to make it really big because he's trying to do what God did. And so he is not able to get in and make all of the connections with the nerve endings and everything, like with all of the tiny. So he has to use, like, I think he uses like over 100 people to make that one body. It's actually pretty like insane. Like I didn't recognize that like going in that because like it just looks like it's like made of like 2 or 3 people, but no, like to create all of the nerve endings and all of the he killed, there were, he didn't kill them, he used a lot of cadavers. I don't know if they're using cadavers in this. But like additionally, when Frankenstein's monster was created, the second he was born, Frankenstein abandoned him. He was immediately horrified at what he had created and thought it was so ugly that he just left. He just pieced. It's a really sad story. Anyway, so he pieced, and then like Frankenstein dipped down the mountain. Like Frankenstein was in a house. Frankenstein's monster. They never name him. I'm probably okay. I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call him Ted because I'm sick of saying Frankenstein's monster. Ted. I'm gonna call him Ted. Okay. Ted decided to walk down the hill from where his house was, And at the bottom of the hill was a house, and there was a blind man named Henry that lived in the house. And the blind man named Henry teaches Ted and is nice to Ted and shows him kindness and love and affection because he can't see him. And he doesn't know that he's talking to a monster. And that is like one of the tragedies of Ted, is that he's not a monster. He is a monster by circumstance. Like, he looks bad, but he's not bad at the beginning. Then when Henry's children come home, they're the ones that freak out when they see Ted. And they're the ones that bring violence to it. I think they throw stones at him. So, like, anyway, it's really sad. But, like, even the names, like, start to line up. And then Frankenstein's wife's name. Yeah, there were a lot of names in that line up. I don't remember all of them. I think her name might have been Elizabeth. But like they all start to line up, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fun. Granted, I will admit, like, these are pretty common names. So 4 names to line up does not explicitly mean that is where he's getting sources from. It's just, I noticed it and went, ding, this is going in my notebook as potential source. Okay, for Dracula is about, it's mainly about a guy that is going Harker, and this is the only one that I've actually read of the 3. The other ones I've read synopsises. I've seen all movies, obviously, but like, I haven't read them. But Harker is going to a castle to like meet with Dracula, and he's author, I believe. And Dracula at the same time is like getting his girlfriend. He's like getting his girlfriend Mina to like turn into a vampire. And so like the whole time Mina is cheating on the main guy with Dracula. And she ends up, I can't, it doesn't matter, but like, basically we've got another, like, we have, in this story, we have the tie-in of an unfaithful woman that's going back and forth between different people, and almost becomes the ruin of Harker and everybody. Like, it takes, I think Van Helsing has to like step in and help at the end. I think Harker actually does kill Mina, but like, he wasn't going to. And so that, the other one, which American Werewolf in Paris, I think tracks onto Henry and Twisted Wolf. But like, this one, I'm thinking American Werewolf in Paris, a lot of Henry's things, like a lot of the names that Scott chose have the same root origins. So for a lot of the names that are connected with William, they have English origins. A lot of them mean king in some way, shape, or form, and English in origin. And a lot of the names that are associated with Henry are French in origin. So I know this is like a long shot to be like, oh, French, that means American Werewolf in Paris. But really, like, that American Werewolf in Paris is one of the more, it's one of the stories that adds a lot of things into the vampire or the werewolf lore, and like really made them be more humanistic rather than animalistic, as strange as it is. It's like set around a wartime, and in that story, the main character, he is always a bit off, but then he really starts to go down the track. And if you've seen the movie, like, he really starts to wobble off the edges once he meets the girl, and she's kind of like leading him down the path of like, no, like, you're gonna help me, you're gonna do all this stuff. And it seems like I haven't read the book yet, but like, it seems like the book and the movie are vastly different in how everything ends and turns out. But like, the girl brought the suffering to him, kind of. Like, he was suffering to begin with, but then she made it worse. And again, I think this is F10. So I think those are the big sources that Scott used to kind of create the backstories of these characters, and is now interweaving them all together. And obviously, like, it's not like one-to-one replicas, but it's just the parallels that I'm seeing. Okay. And okay, so let's see. Okay, so I think some of the really big things that I'm thinking right now are that, which notebook did I write this in? I have too many notebooks sitting around me. Apologies. Some of the really big things that some of the really big things that I'm thinking as I'm trying to piece this story together. I think all of these stories are happening concurrently and backwards to what we were given. So I think if you're looking in this book here, I think the actual story is happening in reverse chronological order, and we're coming in at the tail end. But I think like the first thing that would have happened would have been Chica's secret party, and I think this is literally in chronological order, guys. So if that is correct, what happened was Secret of the Mimic, Chica's secret party, Help Wanted 2, Security Breach, Special Delivery, Curse of Dreadbear, Help Wanted, UCN, Pizza Sim, Sister Location, and like, not the gameplay that we're playing, but the locations themselves. Then FNaF 4, 3, 2, and 1. Like, I think this is showing us where the deaths and tragedy happened and when. I'm not entirely sure on that, but that's just what I'm thinking right now. Part of what is making me make this video is that WTF Chica's Party World that Game Theory just put out. And I think what the Chica's Party World is trying to tell us in this book is that it is happening at the same time as Midnight Motorist, because we see the yellow Bonnie outside the window. And I think this is also happening, I think it being the yellow costumes is trying to tell us, it's springtime, because it really does seem like there are seasonal variants of these suits. Like, in Into the Pit, everything was yellow themed, and haha, like, funny, but like, I think that was trying to say that like there are spring suits and there are fall suits. Like, it's not just spring because of Springlock, it's spring because of this season, which to me has further implications of, we have magic going on in some way, shape, or form, even if it is just technological magic, starts bringing in potentially seasonal deities. And like, it being gold, there are a lot of, in my opinion, there's a lot of biblical references in these, which, like, we know Scott's very religious, and like, I see them being all yellow as like a reference to the golden calf, which potentially means balls running around somewhere, which, like, I don't know, like, these locations consistently smell of sulfur based on the books, and like we have wishes being granted in almost every book, in almost every story. Like if you read the stories, like literally all of them, there's a wish that gets granted. Like, let me find. I've marked a few of them. But like Charlotte in the second book, well, I'll do Abby's first. Because even in these movie books, like, here it is, page, gosh, 39, if I can see. All right. And this is the movie book 1, which these have a lot of lore in them, y'all. For a second, Abby's pencil stopped moving as her feelings pushed past her concentration on the drawing. If only the drawing would come true. Abby wished Mike would play with her sometime. He used to, but lately... Oh, and what's this drawing of? Oh, glad you asked. The golden warmth of the desk lamp made Abby's animal friends and the black-haired man and the black-haired little girl under the tree look even happier than Abby wanted them to look. Oh, it's a bunch of her animal friends and her. This is before she goes to Freddy's, guys. She is drawing the Freddy's cast before she goes to she is seeing the dead kids before she goes to Freddy's. She is already being targeted. They are already targeting her. And like, I think without everything happening in this, she just would have been stolen. And she would be like Rory. But she gets her wish. They grant her wish. They try to grant her wish. In this book, Charlotte does the exact same thing. And this is throughout like all of them. Like if you read Tales, if you read Why Do I Keep Missing Fazbear Frights? If you read like literally all of the books, somewhere in the story, before everything happens, the kids wish. They make a wish. And the wish comes true in the worst ways possible. So for Charlotte, she I'm sorry. I'm really bad at this. But she wishes that she could just play the games all day long, and then she gets, based on the of course I'm not gonna be able to find it, but like based on the what is it called? The Ticket to Fun book. Based on that, like there is a very high likelihood that Charlotte is in part inside of the arcade machines. It very much seems like it. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. This is like really I don't know that it even matters. But yeah, of course I didn't mark it, so I'm not gonna be able to find it right now. But she does. She wishes that she could play the games all the time. And her wish gets granted. Not in a good way. Oh, what else? Okay. We have a whole page of things. So Mott and Rory, I briefly mentioned them a second ago, I believe. But like, I think that story. This is the Sea Bonnie story. Okay, so this is the story where Mott is the older brother. They win Sea Bonnies at Freddy's. They bring them home. The younger brother, Rory, he puts the sea monkeys in the aquarium with his fish, Fritz, which I think the fact that his fish is named Fritz is a reference to the fact that Rory is already seeing the dead kids. I think Rory is already being targeted by Freddy's, because I think what happens is they find kids that are sad and alone, and they get, or kids that love Freddy's so much, kids that like put Freddy's above everything else. It's like it's two sides of the same coin. You're safe if you're in the middle, but if you're on one of the extremes, you're gonna die. And effectively, I think the story is showing that like Rory was already talking to the kids. It seems like there's a likelihood that he was talking to like, I think Waff Task might have even made like a quick appearance in this one, where like you see, I'm calling it Waff Task, that W or that RWQ. If you put that string of letters, Shadow Bonnie, if you put that string of letters into, not all of them, I don't know why all of them don't work, but if you put them into a text to speech, it comes back as Waff Task. And when I looked up Waff Task, that is like an internet firewall kind of thing, which makes me think that Waff Task, that maybe the shadows are connected to Mixus in some way, like they're a security system, a security protocol. I don't know. That's just my current thought on it. But I think Rory was talking to the dead kids already. He's being targeted. We see the Sea Bonnies eat up Fritz and become Fritz. I think this is an evolution. I think we're seeing the whole big frame, I think, is the singularity. So we are seeing the evolution of technology from story to story on how quickly this is evolving, because this is now acting like an organism. It's not acting like a tech anymore. This is acting like a biological species, but it's evolving technologically and at a rate that is like decades rather than millions of years like we have to do. So it's scary. But like, I think the Sea Bonnies are an evolution of the Fazgoo. That's why like the Fazgoo is lame. Like, it's gotta be attached to you, and like it slowly siphons off all of your stuff. The Sea Bonnies, however, these little pluckers are able to just like eat you up and become you. And then like they further probably evolve into like the nanobot kind of technology that we see in oh my god, Bleeding Heart, and in the Tales stories, like we see there are these gift wrapping nanobots that behave and function quite similarly to the Sea Bonnies, but instead of having to be in the medium of water, they are zipping around the air, and able to get into your bloodstream, as our main character sadly finds. But I think this story, circling back, apologies, by the end, our main character, Mott, is a Sea Bonnie, for lack of a better term. He has been amalgamized into, like, if you've ever watched Murder Drones, like, this thing is a lot like Sin, in my opinion, where it's like better to assimilate than explain. I mean, and she's a Shoggoth, so like totes make sense. But like, he is now part of the machine. Like, he is now going to do what Freddy's wants. And what does Freddy's want? Well, Freddy is headed by Fiona, I believe. And what Fiona wants, kids. She wants a baby. So I think now he is going to act like in a very similar manner to how Foxy Bro acted, where now instead of being the kind, loving older brother, he is going to start torturing his younger brother until his younger brother feels like everybody hates him, and they're gonna do like there probably will be like a psychic friend. We have the Sea Bonnies. The Sea Bonnies are going to be acting like the psychic friend Fredbear, because I think what that thing is on his bed is Fiona, for lack of a better term, telling him how much everybody hates him and how he would be so much better off alone, and if he would just come with them, he wouldn't have to worry about anything. Like, this is a really insidious. I really dislike this thing. It's very well written and it's very creepy and it gives me shivers and chills thinking about it. But I don't like it. I personally it as an entity makes me angry because it is targeting children and destroying families intentionally. Um, so I'm gonna jump around. Wishes granted. Okay, so all of that. Let's jump into some other things, I suppose. 1:35 a.m. I think. Okay, this one, I I think this is about Revelations 13.5. Okay, um, I'm not entirely sure, but in my opinion, there are a lot of Christian influences in this text, and this is what I think. Okay, so I don't know if it's just taboo that nobody talks about it, because it's genuinely strange to me that nobody brings in Christianity to these games when we know that is like one of Scott's. Anyway, but I'm gonna paraphrase, and I apologize, guys. I am personally not religious. I don't have any problems with people who are, at all, and I think a lot of it, truthfully, I think Christianity should be the way people, not Christianity specifically, but the just do unto others as you would want to do unto yourself. The tenets, the main, the things that Christ taught, I think are good things, and I think we need a lot more of them in our society today. So if I say anything incorrect, or it sounds disrespectful, I'm not meaning for it to. I think that's part of the reason why people don't really talk about this. But I feel like we're doing ourselves a disservice as theorizers by not looking at it at all. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna paraphrase what Revelations 13:5 is. So this is the passage about the Antichrist and the mark of the beast. When I was looking it up, I was using the King James version of the Bible, in case you want to look it up and see the actual full verse and see, because I might have something wrong. I don't know. This is my paraphrasing. So the beast rises out of the sea with 7 heads, 10 horns. Each of the horns have a crown. The beast is like a leopard, and his feet were that of a bear. Bear. So, to me, this is ringing Scrap Trap very much, because, he has bear feet, not bare. He has bare feet. His mouth of a lion, which we've seen, the lion mascot suits, and we have David with a tiger. And the dragon gave him his power. And we have dragons all over the place in we have the sea dragons, we have all the dragons in the castle section in David's room, his power, his seat, and his great authority. One head is wounded to death, which I think is the Scrap Trap head, that's Afton, then resurrected, which made the masses worship the dragon, which fed power to the beast, for who would be powerful enough to stop it? And he continued for 40 and 2 months. So, for 40 and 2 months. And those on the earth that pull others into captivity shall see captivity themselves, and he that kills by the sword will die by the sword. This all sounds very like you get what you ask for, you get what you do. And that is very much kind of, it sounds like what Funtime Freddy was saying to the Millie when she was in his stomach. You're dying for the crimes of humanity. You're dying for being for the things that you've done. You wished for death, and now you're dying. And another beast shall rise from the earth. I think this is referring to the twisted ones, potentially, with 2 horns, like a lamb, but with the voice of a dragon. And he shall take all the power of the first beast before him, and cause the world to grip more fervently to the first beast. And he makes fire come from the heavens, which we do have a building that burns down. And he deceives man with the power granted to him from the beast, saying they should honor and memorialize the beast's visage, and any who would not worship would be killed. And he causes all to have the mark on their foreheads. This reminds me of the masks that seem to keep coming up, and we can't figure out why. So to buy and sell, you must have the mark or the name of the beast. The number of the beast is the number of man, 666. That's what I think. 1:35 a.m. Like, I don't think that was meant to be really for her. I think that was meant to be for us, the reader, to kind of give us a broader excuse me, I'm sorry, a broader understanding of the narrative that's going on. Okay. I've talked about Moon EXE, FNaF World. I think a lot of the things in FNaF World are, to me, they map better onto David's story than they actually map onto the Crime Child story. Which, who knows, that might be Garrett. But, like, I think, like, so when you're playing through FNaF World, that's one of the ones that I was able to actually play. I have a terrible time actually playing these games, so I'm getting a lot more of my lore. I've watched them. I've watched people play them. But, like, for me personally, I can't really play jump scare games because, like, I will have a heart attack and die. Not literally, but, like, my anxiety just goes through the roof. So the ones that I've been able to play are, like, I can play FNaF World. Love FNaF World. That one's a lot of fun. And I can play the Steel Wool kind of era games because I can play them when I can, like, step to the side and, like, decompress. So I can get through Secret of the Mimic and get through Ruin and all of those. But, like, the original Scott Games ones, unfortunately, I've tried. I own all of them. I just can't actually play through them myself because I get too scared, to be honest. But talking about FNaF, not 4. What is the one in between? What is 4 World? 4.5. Speaking of FNaF World, so in one of the games, in several of the games, like the Foxy.exe, which, if Foxy.exe, I hadn't actually thought about it being similar to Moon.exe, so, like, maybe that is Foxy's memory banks, if that is supposed to be Moon's memory banks. It's like just him walking and hiding from a cat. I hadn't conceptualized it like that until I'm like literally just talking it through. I don't know. But like in that one, you're hiding from a cat. You're hiding from a kitten. Um, Also, like, Chica's Magic Rainbow is one of the main bosses in the game, which, like, we know Fiona has a lot of connections with Chica. And the security owl, like, it's a security owl, and it's like the same thing that we see in what is the kids Kali? No. K. It starts with a K, but in Tales from the Pizzaplex, there's one of the stories where a kid gets trapped in, it's either VR or AR, and his school, he keeps seeing clocks, which we don't know what the clock is. We need that's what we actually need to find out. If we can solve what the clock is, we can solve FNaF. I'm fairly certain. But like, he keeps seeing this owl, and that's what ends up like being the mimic yanking off his hands, is yanking off his arms, is the owl, or him like hearing the owl and then like bye arms. So like, I don't know if the owl is supposed to represent David or if the owl is supposed to represent the crying child. Like, because in this, if the mimic is supposed to be Frankenstein's monster, Ted, if the mimic is supposed to be Ted, like, he potentially walks down the hill like we see, and then took the first kid that he saw down there, which, if that's the case, then that very like that might be the kid, because there's an empty room, like in the crying child's house. There's an empty room for a girl. It looks like there's a. So anyway, I don't know. This is just what I'm thinking as I'm like looking at. Okay, Golden Freddy at the Pizzaplex really bothers me. I think he is very evil. I know everybody, you're my superstar. Everybody loves this guy. I do not. He scares the Nikes out of me, because he is the friendliest voice you ever will meet. And usually in these games, the friendly voices, the quiet voices lie. That's from Poppy. That's from Poppy. But like the him being a Golden Freddy very much disturbs me, because it's a Golden Freddy. And like, we know from the things that are like littered around the Pizzaplex, there are magazines that are littered around that are spring issue and have new and improved. And so I think that is trying to tell us that the golden variants are the springtime variants of the Pizzaplex, but also like they obviously have problems and issues. That being said, the line where he's talking about, he's up on the catwalks and he's looking down and he's talking about missing him, I don't think that's about Bonnie. At that point, he is already not the Freddy that we came in with. Either, so his eyes have changed, like his eyes are different. He is now running off of not batteries, he's running off of remnants now. I think anyway, I think he's either being powered by Remnant or Agony at this point. So he is the spirit, or like the spirits are more in control, or the Tangle is more in control of this thing now. And he talks about missing somebody while he's up there. And it just, I think Candi Bunny is the one that did a video on like how you find the David ball underneath the fallen sleepy moon. And like that fallen sleepy moon really reminds me of in Ruin, as you're playing, when you get to the bowling lanes, and they're like all the little mini DJ Music Man all around. But if you put on your Vanny mask at the bowling lanes, there's a huge bowling ball that is in AR that has fallen and destroyed the lanes, but there's nothing there in real life. The building is destroyed from something that's not there. So like that is making me think that that was the sleepy moon that fell and broke the bowling lanes. And in this time stream, it's a bowling ball. In that time stream, I don't know how it works. These are the parallels that I'm seeing. I don't know if I'm right, but just if anybody else, I might be crazy. But like, there's very wiggity weirdness with Freddy at that point, and like, I don't buy that he's actually talking about Bonnie. I just don't. I think he's talking about missing David or missing Edwin. I don't know which. Which, I mean, if Happiest Day actually if the spirits actually left with Abby, and this game would be in the future from the FNaF 2. So this game would be in the future from the FNaF 2 movie, because the Pizzaplex isn't built yet, because in these books, we know that the Pizzaplex was built around the old pizzeria. So, I mean, and we know that from going down into the Pizzaplex also, but like, that's another reason why I think these are real. They're the building, there was a Pizzaplex. There was what Charlie and them were thinking was going to be a mall. That's the Pizzaplex. It's not that they were building a mall around Freddy's. It's that they're building a bigger Freddy's. So it could be that he is missing whoever was, if Golden Freddy had 2 spirits in there, it could be that he's missing the other one. I don't know, but it's just a thought. And before I don't have it written here, so it's going to leave my head if I don't say it, but the Cliffs, I think, was another one that was trying to show us that kids are getting abducted and replaced. Like, both are happening. Because his son in that, they have the tag-along Freddy, so they have Psychic Friend Fredbear, effectively a Psychic Friend Fredbear, that is talking to the kid, and it's giving the dad false security information. So I think it is probably telling the kid things like, your daddy doesn't really love you, we really love you, come with your friends. Because like, a van leaves with the kid, and then the dad has the Psychic Friend Fredbear, he has the tag-along Freddy, and he's like screaming at it and whatever, and like it's trying to get him to kill himself. And I think that's so that he won't continue looking for the kid, because it has what it wants, but it also is like, FNaF AR was showing that like, there are Agony and Remnant collectors out there. Like, Freddy's has figured out how to collect Remnant and Agony, not just from Freddy's materials, but from everything. Like, if these energies are real in universe, these are energies that can be harvested and harnessed. And I don't like they're real in universe. There's no, they just are. Like, there's no disputing that. Remnant exists. Agony exists. Like, the science that they have in this isn't all accurate to our science, but it like the infrasound, for instance, like, in reality, infrasound is a low frequency sound. That's the one that messes with you. That's why the data centers are bad. But in this one, they made it be a high frequency sound. It doesn't mean that the science is wrong. The science is accurate. They just switched it. So, like, I think in that story, we saw the kid get taken. He's probably now in like a sister location bunker kind of thing. Then we saw the dad freak out. He threw the tag-along Freddy over the cliffs. And then, wow, in the direction that he threw that bear, Daddy, Daddy, help! I hate it. I hate it. But it's what happened. In the entire story, the little kid was saying, I love you. He could not pronounce L. The entire story. Every single instance that that child would have said an L, he uses a W. And what does he say as like the very last thing before they walk off into the sunset? I love you, Daddy. He doesn't have his son back. He does not have his son back. It's very creepy to me. It is disturbing and creepy. Like, these parents can't even tell that they don't have their kids. And that is even more disturbing to me. That, like, they know their children so little. Also, like, Susie's story coming home, I think that was trying to tell us that the kids' spirits are locked in the toys, like we see Vanessa pull out. And I think, like, that one is a really, really sad story too. But, like, I think Susie was trying to tell her sister that her spirit is trapped in her mirror. And that's what that magnifying glass was. She was trying to tell her sister to go find her mirror so that her soul could be free and she would not be trapped at Freddy's. But instead, her sister was so focused on the last thing they thought about, which was the doll, that she spent all of the remaining last moments that Susie had, because once the fall equinox happened, once that last leaf fell and the moon crested, Susie is locked. She can't move on. Her soul is now trapped and she is being used as energy. And so I think, like, unfortunately, Samantha totally didn't get what she was supposed to do and doomed her sister for eternity. And Susie, in her last bit of what she could do, she kept the cycle from, she stopped it at her, where typically this cycle continues. Like, we see over and over again, we see it seems to be roughly a 30-year cycle. And I think it's because that's how long it takes for the kid that wasn't killed or wasn't abducted to grow up and have a burning, yearning desire to find out what happened. And then they go back and they work for Freddy's, usually as a security guard. And Freddy's eats them too, because, yeah, what is that? Let me in, like, eat some now, save some for later, eat some now, save some for later. That is what Fiona's been doing this entire time. She is playing and toying with everybody, and it's all a game. We are like the ARG, like, they're playing us, not us playing them. And because like we see like in Sister Location, they're not, and even like in Secret of the Mimic, what does the Mimic do when he gets out? He goes right back home. They don't actually want to get out. They just want to stop being like, they just want to keep playing. They don't actually want freedom, though. That's not what they desire. I think they're desiring to turn everything into animatronica, which is what they've been doing. Yeah, and like the FNaF 6 animatronics, like they come back home. They have some kind of like homing beacon. I don't know what it is, but like, and the twisted ones too. The twisted ones dig themselves up and then beeline to Freddy's. Like they come home. Everything that gets created comes back. And like, I think the reason that they listen to Ennard, like I think M2 probably is Ennard. And in the Moon EXE game, we were seeing M2 go through and fix all of, except for Jackie. She's already possessed. She's already got Elizabeth in her, probably. Elizabeth or Fiona, I'm not sure which, but she already has a kid. But like, he goes and he saves all of the animatronics, and I think that's why they listen to him. When, I mean, I know like they end up fighting and everything, but I think that is why Sister Location is able to happen, is because they trust Ennard, because Ennard saved them from Secret of the Mimic. Ennard fixed everything, and like, why wouldn't he do it again? But like, once it's not the robots in control anymore, the kids don't like Ennard, because the kids are like, bruh, we dead now. We're not better off. I know who my real friends are, and it's not you. It's the people you made me leave behind. David's heterochromia really bothers me. Like, I have the one book right here. I think I'd given it to my husband to read, because I'm making him read all of this stuff because I'm like insane. And he's like, oh my god, okay, like fine, I'll talk to you about it. No, he's great. He's not really like, but I am like taking him down insane journeys where he's like, what? But like, David's heterochromia, I think, isn't trying to show us that he has. I think that is potentially saying that there are two kids there. Because like, so there's a couple of things that really bother me with the eyes in these stories, okay? So in the Silver Eyes trilogy, Charlotte's eyes are brown. They're consistently brown, including, like, I'm pretty sure even, like, Baby's eyes are brown, which, like, as a human, and I was just like, what? Why? Because at first I was legitimately thinking that Circus Baby and Charlotte might just be like the same person, just one is a robot and one actually has the kid inside. I don't know that I believe that anymore. Like, and I know they like change stuff around and we can't really like, anyway, it bothers me. The eye colors bother me. Like, and like scenes like this, like we have the juxtaposition of Circus Baby, and then we have the memories of, honestly, this doesn't, like, it doesn't look like Henry. It does not look like Henry to me. But we have that constantly where like their memories just seem to be colliding, like almost like they're the same person. And the Ella doll, Ella Elizabeth, like Eleanor. Anyway, I don't know what to make of that, but it bothers me, intensely bothers me. Because like in the new stuff, Charlotte's eyes are very distinctly blue. Very, very distinctly blue. Just like Henry's eyes are very distinctly blue. Just like Edwin Sr.'s eyes were very distinctly blue. Just like Edwin Jr.'s eyes were very distinctly blue. And Afton's eyes are gray, dead eyes. They're dead eyes. Like, he's already dead. He's dead. He's alive because they're undead. But, like, he's like, the eyes, like, here we go. The eyes, they were all I could see. I remember them, like, they're right in front of me. They were just dead. They were dead. Just dull and flat. He's not alive anymore. He's dead. Like, that's why he comes to life when he comes into the suit. Yeah, it's the mimic in there. Where did the third one go? And that, like, this here, I think, is showing us the greater, like, this. Right, at the very end, like, we have everything happen, like, Charlotte, like, the Charlie bots attack each other, they effectively kill each other, like, and then we have this, which is a mix. She is a mix of she's a mix of Charlie 3 and Charlie 4. She's got on a dress that is in the same exact style as what Charlie 4 was wearing, but she's now wearing Charlie 3's colors and Charlie 3's boots. That this is, they combined and made what we can finally do what we were supposed to do. Like, those voice lines bother me in FNaF 6. Like, what are they supposed to do? Is it that they're supposed to be a family? Is it that all of the bots are supposed to, like, what are the goals here? Because this makes it feel to me like the goal is, oh, we have a new victim. We have a new man that we are now going to be able, and he's a writer. He could have written these books. Like, to further spread the gospel, spread the word. But, like, it just feels like the singularity is the ultimate goal of, we're just replacing everybody with robots and this new life form that is better in all ways, except for it's not. Like, it's way worse. But, like, I don't know. Like, it just, there's something wrong going on, obviously. That might be everything. Oh, I didn't talk about ears, I don't think. So the other thing that really bothers me, this is just small, but, like, it really, really irks me. And the clock. I gotta talk about the clock. But this really irks me, y'all. Like, these ears right here, these are not bear ears. This is a cat ear. This is like a tiger or a lion. This is not a bear. I think this is where the tiger went. And I think the tiger or Freddy is the clock. Like, in, I don't know. He also has a clock on his mantle, Henry. But, like, whatever the clock is, like, that they keep saying find the clocks, and it's a grandfather clock, and which is what's pointing me to the grandfather. I think he might be the grandfather anyway. But it's pointing me to Edwin Sr. as the one that's casting the shadow down onto the entire franchise. And, like, just the progression of the ears, they went from this to this, and then to this. Like, I don't know what it means, but it irks me that some of the ears, like, and these, like, these are very much, those are more cat teeth. I'm gonna be real honest, like, than bear teeth. Where, and like, I don't know why this design doesn't have, like, these designs don't have upper teeth at all. Which, like, it's something that I didn't notice until I started 3D printing everything. Like, these designs do. They have the upper teeth, just like this design does. But the middle design doesn't. And I don't, so these feel more like Edwin's. Or Henry's, I guess. But like, I don't know, the ears really bug me, and I think they've bothered me since before we had a tiger in the roster. And then as soon as we had a tiger in the roster, I was like, oh, well, the bear's the tiger. Anyway, there aren't supposed to be two bears. There's a bear and a tiger. But like, and the fact that cats are just overtly missing, like, we've got so many different, the cats are just such a iconic animal to have. Like, it's just weird to me that we don't have any cats in the roster. The clock is, like, mentioned constantly, and then, like, I think it's either the puppet's melody or Freddie's melody is a play on my grandfather's clock, which that song, when you, like, look it up, that song is about a clock that worked all the way up until the grandfather died. And the day the grandfather died, the clock stopped. And so I think it's if I were to guess, my current assumption is that is whatever the original sin is of this story, is when their grandfather died and that clock stopped working. So I think if we can find the clock wherever or whatever it is, I think that will explain a lot. I just don't know what it is yet. It keeps getting referred to in all these different places. Like FNaF World, you have to find the clocks. Like, Henry's got that weird cuckoo clock on his mantle. Abby is supposed to be getting an inheritance that Jane wants. The fact that we have an Aunt Jane. Like, Billy too. Billy is supposed to be getting a grandfather clock as an inheritance from his grandfather. And that's like one of the only things that the grandmother wants him to make sure that he takes care of the clock. And it's just and there are clocks in all of the pictures of Edwin and Fiona, like those pictures of New Year's. The clock's broken. It's not showing midnight. It's showing like 10 or something. It's not showing midnight. So, like, that's the broken clock. That, anyway, it drives me nuts. Because I can't figure out where it's at now or what its purpose is or, like, why it's important. I just know that it is important because it keeps getting referenced. And then the names really bother me. They seem to be taking kids, and then, at least when they're with William, they change them to a 7-digit name. And I don't know what the significance of that is, but, like, Charlotte gets changed to Charlie. Elizabeth gets changed to Eleanor. Mike gets changed to Michael. Vanny gets changed to Vanessa. Like, I don't know why, but it's a pattern. And it's frustrating to see the pattern and not understand why. Also, like, everywhere in Secret of the Mimic, there are mockingbirds, right? Cuckoos. No, cuckoos. There's cuckoo nests everywhere. which I don't know how much biology you guys know, but like cuckoos, what they do to reproduce is they lay their eggs in another bird's nest, and then they push out all of the other birds' eggs. They kill all of the other chicks so that it's only their babies that are in that nest. And then the cuckoos leave. The cuckoos fly the coop. And the other birds don't know any better because the eggs, even though they're different, they look similar enough that the other birds think that's their baby. And the other birds take care of the baby, the chick, until it hatches, and then they fully take care of the chick. It kills the birds because the nests that the cuckoo lays their eggs in, the birds have a much, like, they don't eat as much as a cuckoo bird does. A cuckoo bird is a giant bird comparatively. And so the parents will starve themselves to continue feeding the cuckoo. They are feeding the parasite and dying themselves. It's very Freddy's-like to me. And then I think, like, it makes me think that Afton or like Fiona or like Edwin makes me think that somebody is effectively planting fake children, letting them grow up, or planting their own kids, which, like, maybe that's what the vampire, like, novella thing, but like, not novella, the TV show that Mike was watching, the sleepless, like, one among the, no, whatever it was. I can't think of what it was at the moment. I'm sorry, y'all. But like, it makes me think that that is an overarching theme that's happening, where they're replacing kids with fake kids, and then they're harvesting them once they come of age. They're coming back and getting them, which kind of made me think that that's what he did with Garrett. Like, Garrett. Look, Garrett's 7 letters, okay? Garrett is also 7 letters. O-L-D-E. So, like, wait, is he? Garrett? He is, yeah. Garrett's 7 letters. So, like, he would also fall, and, like, we see Afton at Camp Etnia in the story about the bunnies, where he has the 2 daughters. Like, he's the guy smoking the cigarette. I'm fairly certain that is Afton, or like supposed to be. He's the guy that, like, he's probably wearing the Ralpho suit, but like, he's the guy that the main character talks to at night, and he's very bleak and, like, whatever. Anyway, like, I have a lot of thoughts. Obviously, I've talked on this for like an hour and a half. Not a lot of solutions, but I think I at least have some, as maybe you agree. Hopefully there's at least somebody that agrees that something makes sense. I also truthfully think it would be, like, really badass if Fiona literally did burn at Fall Fest, but she was already a robot, and the robot, like, crawled itself back through the tunnels, because we know there's, like, hidden tunnels, and it just exists. We know that that's a fact. There are a lot of hidden tunnels all over the place. It's a compound. Which also, there's, like, Russian number station that is going on, which I think is very odd. There's a lot of really odd things in this series. But, like, that made me think that this could be, like, a government. Anyway. But, like, it would be super cool if she really did burn at Fall Fest, but she didn't die because she was already dead and a robot at that point. And Afton happened to see her and was like, "What?" Also, I definitely think it was Afton's wife that ran over David, if that is the story that happened and not he fell. Because somebody fell. Somebody fell from a height. We've got the cliffs. We've got the bowling ball. We've got somebody fell. Okay. I don't know who, but somebody fell. And I don't know. But in the graphic novel, we see that it was a woman that actually ran David over, that the mimic was watching happen. Which, if the mimic watched that happen, and okay, so let's just say that was all Edwin Sr. and not Edwin Jr., and Edwin Sr.'s son died. He already had a computer that he was using to be the mimic. The code came to him from nowhere. It was like a flash that sounds very much like a Shoggothy kind of thing. Like something reached in and was like, let me help. Make me a body. And it witnessed the one thing that it actually cared about in this world die. I think there is a very high likelihood that it remembered that car, even if it couldn't necessarily remember even if it couldn't see the person that was in the car, it would remember the car. You know what I mean? And we saw that it looked like the driver of the car was at the funeral, which to me probably means that the driver of the car was either Patricia, Susie's mom, because Patricia is the one that watches David. And so I think it would either be her or it would be Afton's wife. Thematically, it makes more sense to me for it to have been Afton's wife, and then that's why Fiona targets Afton and why M2 crawls into his skin, is because you took my family. Now I'm taking yours. And I love the idea of the fiery anyway. But that could mean a lot of things, the greetings from the fire and all that stuff. I don't quite have what that means yet, but I do question whether anybody legitimately died there or whether they just realized that they weren't a person, because also that is when, because I don't think Fiona, I think that they took her voice. I don't think that is actually Fiona's voice. Anyway. It is, but it isn't the OG Fiona, if that makes sense. It's not the wife. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That game is really wiggity. It really, the Secret of the Mimic, really opened up the story to me, because before that I thought it was pretty cut and dry. This is we're just misunderstanding that these are the same person, and that's just what the confusion is. I don't think that anymore. What else? I was going to say one other thing. I mean, I can make another video always, but I feel there was something else I feel like that was pretty pertinent, but I can't for the life of me remember what it was, and I don't have it in my notes. I was going to read a few of the things, because I think these books are pretty explicitly telling us that we are dealing with robot people. And whoops. Well, there went my pen for my iPad. Okay. So I think these are pretty explicitly telling us that Afton and Co. are not humans anymore. So I want to just read why. So this is the first one. Okay, on page 24, Mike stared at Raglan. Not only was the man saying nothing he had expected to hear, there was something off about him. Mike's nose twitched. Maybe it was the guy's odor. Mike couldn't place it. It wasn't sweat or anything like that. It wasn't cologne or food. It was something musky. Something that made Mike think of the damp basement in his childhood home. And on the next page, the man stepped in something that was causing the stench. They're really highlighting this, y'all. Like, they're really highlighting that he is already dead. And then, like, the next page, like, 2 pages later, Mike inhaled the smell of coffee beans, but wrinkled his nose when he once again caught the strange stench that wafted from Raglan himself. He's dead. Afton's already dead. And then here, I like this a lot. Like page 28. Come on, Raglan said. I like to make jokes. A little levity lightens the mood. Why don't you sit down? That, when I first read it, gave me chills because I was like, this is the thing that is talking to us in Sister Location. This is the thing making jokes at us at our expense and like casual bongos and like all of that stuff. Like, that's this. Which Eggs Benedict, I think, actually does have a thing in computer code. Oh, it's like Eggs Benedict is how to compress instructions in computer code. Anyway, because it's like for Eggs Benedict, you need to know how to parboil. You need to know how to fix the egg, and you need to know how to do the hollandaise, and you need to. So it's like having multiple sets of instructions in one thing. That actually is what Eggs Benedict means in computer science terminology. But it's been so highly used by FNaF that, like, when you search it, those are not the first things that come up. But like, I have other pages marked. What are these for? Oh, this is just like Abby. Abby is like legitimately talking to these kids. Like, Abby looked over at the bed. He doesn't mean it, she said quietly. He has stress. And this is, to me, is showing that she is talking to these dead kids already. Like, they're the friends, the Freddy's people are already targeting her. As Abby watched the TV, she frequently pointed at it and then looked to her left as if sharing a moment with someone Mike couldn't see. Okay. And this is all before they go to Freddy's. So this is before she's seen any of these. I mean, like, I see, Abby whispered. Bears can do that. So I don't know what Freddy was telling her he couldn't do because he was bear, or like what he couldn't do. But Abby's seeing a bear. She's seeing Freddy, dead kid Freddy. Okay, and like the girl on these tapes, guys, like that's in this movie. This is Fiona, and I just wanna like. So first, like, here's how Raglan describes the job. Here's what Afton, Raglan, Dead M2, whatever you want to call it. Mostly you'll just be hanging out in the office. Raglan's voice played out in Mike's head again. The job's pretty easy. Just keep an eye on the monitors and don't let anyone in. Piece of cake, right? See you on the flip side. Like, hey, we're harvesting you. Play hide and seek as long as you can. It's going to be fun. Okay. this woman on these tapes, when Mike is in the security office, if you have watched the movie, I know most people probably haven't read these books. Read these books, please read these books. But like when he is in the security office and he is first playing the tape, and it is like the security tape, the like, welcome to Freddy's, here is your orientation guide. That's Fiona. I put money on it. That's her. Okay. I don't know if she's wearing Fiona's skin, but like that is F10. A merry-faced woman with curly strawberry blonde hair beamed at the camera. The woman had pretty blue eyes and pouty red painted lips that she stretched into a big smile as she sang out, "Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, a place where fantasy and fun come to life. If you're watching this video, it means you've been selected as Freddy's newest security guard. Congratulations! We're gonna have so much fun together." The genius who created Fazbear Entertainment opened Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria to indulge in his two greatest passions: family-friendly fun and cutting-edge animatronic technology. State-of-the-art robotic engineering enables our characters to interact with the guests in a truly lifelike fashion, while cleverly concealed rechargeable lithium cells give the characters limited range to roam free. Safety first. Adorable, aren't they? These cuddly critters, and their proprietary technology that brings them to life, are now your sacred duty to protect. Keep them safe, and help ensure that Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria is here to delight and dazzle and entertain for years to come. Sacred duty to protect these animatronics that are alive because of our proprietary technology. That's quite a sentiment she's got there, and she is basically laying out exactly what's going to happen with you. As long as you're good and you work for the man, you're going to be A-okay. Slack off? Don't work well? Well, we're going to come into that back office and we can eat you. I mean, Circus Baby pretty much like tells us very similar things in Help Wanted and Olive Sister Location. Like, she tells us about how the only thing that is important is how to pretend, and like she basically quotes Afton's kill dialogue, like, and I think she's quoting that because she's probably the bot that did it. But like, anyway, so from this one, that's some pretty big ones I got. Vanessa's also a robot. Like, her eyes keep shifting colors. She's not a person anymore. In this one, I have a couple pages marked. Let's see what they are. Oh, Michael. Michael ain't a human anymore. Michael's definitely been scooped. Okay, like, and also Ballora, those gems. I saw a video. Why can I not remember? It's one of the ones that I like. I really liked the video, but like those gems, those are pearls. That's a Fiona reference. It's definitely Fiona reference. She's always wearing a pearl necklace. She's always wearing pearls in every picture, and you can tell like it's different people. Like, one of them, she has like a gap tooth. That's her being the bunny. But like, anyway. Okay, so this is when the marionette, and they do make a very distinct, in this book, they make very distinct. There is the marionette and there's the puppet. Anytime Charlotte herself is in control, they call it the puppet. Whenever it is something else, they seem to be calling it the marionette. It uses Charlotte's voice, but it is not Charlotte. Charlotte is still in there in some capacity, but those are the sections that are the puppet. And like there was like at the very beginning it makes a distinction. But this is the section where, if you've seen the second movie, this is where Michael is feeding all of the people to the animatronics, the Ghostbuster people. He's feeding them to the animatronics. He specifically is a little bit scared of Mangle, so that was interesting to me and something of note. He cannot deal with Mangle. Whatever he is now, he is not powerful enough to be able to actually fight Mangle. Which Mangle, to me, I think is like a mix of DJ Music Man, but it doesn't matter. But this is when he's looking at when the marionette has now taken over the one girl, okay? And just a quick straightening up, Michael hugged himself and kept staring at the door. Even as he kept his gaze on the door, he felt chagrined. He was acting like a human, like a normal person who could be scared by the evil in the world. He was sure that if he were being watched, his watcher would have seen more than a glimmer of fear. Shameful. He's not human. Like, this isn't just him, like, thinking of himself as bigger and better. This is him literally telling us that he is not human anymore. Like, this is Scott literally telling us that he is not human anymore. And for a while, when I first saw the movie, I legitimately was just like, I thought, okay, here are the scenes with Vanessa. But like when I first watched the movie, I thought that the scene where Vanessa finds Circus Baby in the closet, I think that was, when I first saw it, I thought that was trying to tell us that Vanessa and Circus Baby are the same person. I don't think that anymore, because it seems from this, it seems that Circus Baby is activated again. So Vanessa seems to have no memory of who Circus Baby is, which if she was the one that was snapped by Circus Baby, I really think she would have remembered that. Instead, Vanessa is terrified of Chica, specifically Toy Chica, which, you know, Chica's Party World. So I think Vanessa, don't come at me. I think Vanessa is Talbert's kid or Taggart's kid. I don't know which. The one that was actually doing he was doing the agony experiments where he was collecting all the things. He also had a very big fixation with flowers. And Vanessa, in all of her like security breach, like all of that, she has a fixation on the meanings of flowers. And like, I think that's a carryover from her father. I think she was stolen from the agony guy. And that's where, and then she was renamed Vanessa, because they get renamed into 7-digit letters. I don't know why. I just know that it's happening. But she's a cuckoo. But like, you know, which I guess maybe she just is, maybe they are all Afton's kids, or like the Fiona's kids. Okay, here we go. But like, she doesn't recognize Baby, so now it seems to me like she is, in reading this, my new assumption is that Vanessa is actually like, what is it called when you spirit walk? She is actually in the house, like, and that is why she needs the child toys to connect to it, because she is going home, like, in the AR VR kind of world. She is walking around, and Baby's there now. Like, she's there now. Like, I think this is showing where this is happening in the time period for us. So this is right this would link up with right after sister location. So I don't know what that means. I just put a pin in it. That's what I think right now. Okay, so here, like, and she's in a she's in a closet very similar to the Charlie closet where it anyway. But Vanessa rotates to try to camouflage herself more completely. As she does, she gets a glimpse of red through the narrow gap between faux fur and other fabrics. What is that? Oh, and also remnant, guys. Remnant, like remains of fabric. It's all connected. This stuff has been planned out from the very beginning. That's why it's called remnant, is because they're in a lace factory. They're connected to the clothes, the physical, tangible objects to begin with. Listening intently, Vanessa inches forward a bit farther. Now she can see the source of the red. It's a brightly painted metal robot that's tucked behind some of the costumes, with red metal hair formed into pigtails, a wide metal mouth bracketed by blood red metal cheeks, and a red metal frilly dress. The robot's a creepy cross between a machine and a baby doll. Vanessa stares at it warily, and its eyes flick down to stare into hers. Vanessa lets out a squeak of shock, and she spills out of her hiding spot. This flight is a reflex. She can't help herself. But it wasn't the wisest move, because she falls right back into her father. And there's a lot. I'm not going to read it all, but like, if you haven't read these books, I would highly recommend reading them. They're really good. I really like them. And it's part of my frustration with this fandom is that like we seem to consistently just throw everything out in the books by just being like, yeah, but it's an AU. I don't think it is. Anyway, I think that they very distinctly connect, and there might be multiple timelines going on. Like we have stories like Into the Pit that show us either time travel or AR, VR hallucinations. I don't know which it is, but like there is the possibility that multiple things are happening simultaneously in different directions and with the same characters differently. And there are different ways within these books that could be happening. Like we don't have to go by the laws of reality when we're looking at these. These aren't real. These are fiction. And those are, I think that's like those are my main thoughts, at least right now. But I've chatted for about 2 hours. That's quite long enough. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. And hope you liked it. Hoped it was interesting at the very least. And have a good one.